book before bed. Tonight, we read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. You cannot control what the world does to you, but you can always choose who you become inside it. Have you ever noticed how much of the day is spent waiting for life to behave? We wait for the traffic to ease. We wait for the message to arrive. We wait for the other person to apologize first. We wait for the weather to change, for the mood to lift, for things to finally settle down, so that then we can be calm. Then we can be happy. And while we wait, we tense up. We argue in our heads with people who aren't even in the room. We rehearse what we should have said. We brace for what might go wrong tomorrow. And the strange thing is, most of what we worry over, we were never going to be able to control anyway. So tonight, just for a little while, let's set that down. Let's stop trying to manage the whole world. Let's walk into this book together and come home to the only place you have ever truly had any power, the quiet inside you. Let me tell you how this book came to be, because it was never meant to be a book at all. The man who wrote it was named Marcus Aurelius, and he was, of all things, an emperor. He ruled one of the largest empires the world had ever known. He had armies and palaces, and more power than almost any person who has ever lived. And yet, he was not a happy-go-lucky man. His life was heavy with plague and war and loss. He buried several of his own children. He spent long years far from home, in cold camps on the edge of the empire, leading soldiers through a war that would not end. And in those long nights, by lamplight, in his tent, he did something very simple. He wrote to himself. Not letters, not speeches, not laws, just small private notes, reminders, the kind of things a tired person tells himself in the dark, to keep his own heart steady. Be patient tomorrow. Don't let them harden you. Remember what matters. Remember that all of this passes. He never gave these notes a title. He never meant for anyone to read them. He certainly never imagined that, nearly 2,000 years later, someone would be whispering their spirit to you as you fall asleep. And that is the seed of this book. Not the wisdom of a man who had everything figured out, but the honest, nightly self-talk of a man trying, again and again, to be a little better than his own worst moods. And maybe that is why it still reaches us, because we are all quietly doing the same thing. Think for a moment about what that means. Here was a person with more reasons than almost anyone to be arrogant, to be untouchable, and instead, what he wrote to himself in the dark was full of doubt and effort and the simple wish to be kinder tomorrow. He reminded himself not to be corrupted by power. He reminded himself that the flattery of the crowd was empty and that the opinions of important people would not matter at all in 100 years. He reminded himself, on the mornings he did not want to rise, that he was made to do the work of a human being, and that staying wrapped in the warm blankets, hiding from the day, was not really living. There is something deeply comforting in that, because it tells us that the calm he was reaching for was not a gift he was born with. It was something he had to practice over and over, losing it and finding it again, exactly the way you and I do. He was not a statue of serenity. He was a tired man, far from home, talking himself back to steadiness. and the steadiness he found, he left behind for us, without ever knowing he had. So what is this book really about? What was he always reminding himself of? It comes down to one question, a question you have probably asked, late at night, in your own way. So much of my life is out of my hands. So where then is my peace supposed to come from? The world is enormous, and you are small. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fall apart. The body will age. The ones you love will leave, in one way or another. You did not choose to be born, and you will not choose the hour you go. Faced with all of that, it is easy to feel like a leaf, blown wherever the wind decides. But the philosophy in this book offers a different way to stand. It says, yes, almost everything is outside your control, but not everything. There is one small, unbreakable kingdom that is yours, and only yours. And learning to live inside it is the whole secret of a calm life. It is a question worth sitting with, because so much of our worrying is really a search for solid ground. We want something to hold on to that the world cannot snatch away. We try to build that ground out of money, or status, or being liked, or having everything go according to plan. But every one of those things can be taken in an afternoon, and somewhere inside, we know it. That quiet knowing is where a lot of our nighttime anxiety lives. We are standing on ground that keeps shifting and calling it home. This book says there is firmer ground, not out there where the wind blows, but in here, in the way you choose to meet your life. And once you find that ground, once you really stand on it, the storms still come, but they no longer knock you over. They pass through you and leave you standing. So let's begin with that idea. The very first thing to understand, the line between what is yours and what is not. Picture two circles. One is vast. It holds almost the entire world. The weather, other people's opinions of you, what your body does as the years pass, whether your efforts succeed, what happened in the past, what will happen tomorrow. All of it, outside the reach of your will. You can hope, you can act, but you cannot command any of it. And then there is the second circle, much smaller, but this one is entirely yours. And what lives inside it is your own response, how you choose to see what happens, the thoughts you feed and the ones you let go of, whether you meet a hard moment with bitterness or with grace. No one can reach in and take that from you. Not a person, not an event, not even an emperor's whole army. This is the heart of it. We spend our lives exhausting ourselves in the first circle, trying to control what was never ours. And we neglect the second, the one place where we are truly free. And the book's gentle correction is this: loosen your grip on the vast world out there and tend instead to the small kingdom in here, because that is where your peace has been waiting all along. Notice how much of your tiredness is the tiredness of trying to control the first circle. We try to manage what other people think of us, and we cannot. We try to guarantee that tomorrow will go a certain way, and we cannot. We try to make the past be different, and we never, ever can. And yet, we keep reaching for these things, straining for them, long into the night. It is like trying to grip water. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away, and the more it wears you out. But the inner circle asks nothing impossible of you. It does not ask you to change the world. It asks only that you tend to your own response. And that you can always do, even on the worst day, even flat on your back, even now. There is something almost tender about it. The one thing fully within your reach is also the only thing you truly need. You were never meant to carry the weight of the whole world. You were only ever meant to keep your own small lamp lit and steady. So why is this so hard? Why do we suffer so much over things we can't control? Here is the quiet truth at the center of it all. It is not really events that disturb us. It is our opinions about events. The thing itself is often neutral. It is the story we wrap around it that wounds us. Think of it like this. Rain falls. The rain is just rain. But one person says, "This is ruining everything," and feels their whole day collapse. And another simply listens to it on the roof and feels held. Same rain. Two completely different nights. The difference was never in the sky. It was in the mind. Someone speaks sharply to you, and in an instant, your mind builds a whole world out of it. They don't respect me. They never did. This always happens to me. And it is that story, not the few words, that keeps you awake. Hours later, hot and restless. The words were a small thing. The suffering, you built yourself. This is not blame. It is the opposite of blame. Because if the disturbance lives in your judgment, then the freedom lives there too. You can set down the story. You can say, simply, a person said a thing, and then let it be just that. You cannot always stop the rain, but you can stop telling yourself that the rain is an enemy. And the moment you do, so much of the weight quietly lifts. And once you start to notice this, you begin to see it everywhere. A plan changes at the last minute. The plan changing is the event. Nothing ever works out for me is the judgment. A friend goes quiet for a few days. The quiet is the event. I must have done something wrong is the judgment. And it is almost never the bare event that keeps us awake. It is the judgment, stacked on top of it, growing heavier the longer we hold it. What a relief it is then, to learn that we can put the judgment down. Not by pretending the event didn't happen, but by seeing it plainly, for exactly what it is, and no more. The mind wants to add. It wants to predict and interpret and assume the worst, and you can gently decline. You can let the event be only as big as it actually is, and you will be amazed how often that is small enough to rest beside. And this brings us to the warm, beating heart of the whole book. The single idea Marcus returned to, night after night. It is this. You may not get to choose what happens to you, but you always get to choose what kind of person you will be in the middle of it. A storm comes. You can't choose the storm, but you can choose not to become a storm yourself. Someone is cruel to you. You can't choose their cruelty, but you can choose whether their cruelty turns you cruel. This is the freedom no one can take. Whatever is done to you, your character remains your own to write. Patience or bitterness, honesty or excuses, kindness or revenge. The choice stays with you, right up to the very end. And so, the question that quietly runs under every page is not how do I make life easier? It is something deeper. How do I become good? Not good for a reward, not good so that others will admire me, but good because a steady, decent, undivided heart is the one possession the world can never confiscate. When you have that, you can lose almost everything else and still rest at night as your own friend. And there is a quiet dignity in this. It means your worth was never really in the things that happened to you. Not in whether you won or lost today. Not in whether you were praised or overlooked. Your worth is in how you carried yourself, in the trying, in the small choices no one else even saw. A person can lose their fortune, their health, their standing, and still be, in the way that matters most, undefeated. Because the thing the world was never able to touch was the one thing that was truly theirs. This is why the book keeps coming back to your own conduct and turning so gently away from the conduct of others. It is not that other people don't matter. It is that they are in the outer circle and you are in the inner one. You will never run out of reasons to be disappointed in the world, but you will also never run out of chances to be the kind of person you would be proud to be. And on a hard night, that is a very steadying thing to remember. So how do we actually live this? Not as a grand idea, but tonight, in this body, in this bed, let me share 6 gentle practices with you. You can try each one softly as you listen. The first is to sort the moment into 2 circles. Ask simply, is this mine to control or not? When something is troubling you, pause and gently sort it. Is this thing inside my power or outside it? The other person's mood, outside. My own next word to them, inside. Tomorrow's outcome, outside. The care I bring to today, inside. And here is the relief in it. For everything in the outside circle, you are allowed to let go. You were never responsible for what you could not move. Pour your small, precious energy only into the inner circle and watch how much lighter the night becomes. So much of our exhaustion is from carrying what was never ours to lift. The second is to question the story before you believe it. When a hard feeling rises, catch the story underneath it. They meant to hurt me. This will be a disaster. I always fail. And before you take it as truth, loosen it. Ask softly, do I actually know this? Or is this just the mind adding its own dark colors? Try to set the bare fact on one side and your fearful tale on the other. A meeting is moved. That is the fact. They're going to let me go. That is the story. And so often, when you separate the two, the fact turns out to be small and harmless, and the suffering was all in the tale you told. You don't have to argue with the story. You only have to stop believing it so completely. The third is to come back to this single moment. Notice how the mind loves to live anywhere but here. It drifts into the regrets of the past or runs ahead into the worries of tomorrow. But you do not live in the past. You do not live in tomorrow. You only ever live in this one breath. So gently bring yourself back. You don't have to carry your whole life tonight. You don't have to solve every problem before morning. You only have to be here, now. Feel this breath. Feel the weight of the blanket. This moment is small enough to hold, and it is the only one you have ever actually been given. The past is finished. Tomorrow is not yet real. There is only now, and now is enough. The fourth is to meet what comes, as if you had chosen it. This is the gentlest art of all. Something arrives that you did not want. A delay, a loss, a long, sleepless hour, and instead of bracing against it, try, softly, to accept it as part of your life, not because it is good, but because it is here. And fighting what is already here only doubles the pain. There is a quiet strength in saying, "This is what this moment holds, and I will meet it without making war on it." When you stop wishing the moment were different, something in you unclenches. The thing may not change, but you stop being torn in two by it. And often, that release is the very thing that lets sleep come. The fifth is to be gentle with other people because they are struggling too. By day, people will frustrate you. They will be careless or short or unkind, and the old reflex is to harden and judge, but try instead to remember something. No one wakes up wanting to be the villain of the story. People act badly when they are afraid, or tired, or hurting, just as you do on your hard days. When you remember that the person who snapped at you is probably carrying something heavy you cannot see, your anger softens into something closer to mercy. You don't have to approve of what they did. You only have to stop letting their bad moment poison yours. Forgiveness here is not a gift to them. It is rest for you. The sixth is to remember gently that all of it passes. This sounds heavy, but it is the lightest medicine of all. Everything you are worried about tonight will one day be long behind you. The thing that feels enormous now will, in time, be a small, faded memory, if you remember it at all. And you too are here only for a while. Far from being morbid, this thought sets you free. Because if your time is short, then why spend tonight at war with it? Why hold the grudge? Why chase what doesn't matter? Let the smallness of it all make you tender. Let it loosen your grip and turn your heart toward what is actually precious. Right now, this breath, this quiet, this one unrepeatable life. These six all sound simple, and they are, but simple is not the same as easy. You will forget them. You will sort a moment wrongly, believe a false story, lose your temper, brace against what comes, and that is completely all right. Marcus forgot too. That is why he kept writing the same reminders, night after night. The practice was never to get it perfect. The practice is only to begin again, gently, as many times as it takes. Now, perhaps a worry rises. If I accept everything and let go of what I can't control, won't I just become passive? Won't I stop trying? Won't I let the world walk all over me? It is a fair question, and the answer is the opposite of what you'd fear. Letting go of the outcome does not mean letting go of the effort. In fact, it frees the effort completely. You still act, you still work, and love, and try, and stand up for what is right. You simply pour yourself into the doing, which is yours, and release your grip on the result, which never was. Think of how much better you act when you are not paralyzed by the fear of failing. The person who has made peace with the storm is the steadiest one in it. You speak more honestly when you're not desperate for approval. You help more freely when you're not keeping score. This is not weakness. It is the calm, unshakable strength of someone who has stopped fighting the wrong battle, so that all their energy is finally free for the right one. Remember, the man who wrote this was not a hermit on a quiet mountain. He was running an empire. He made decisions, fought wars, judged disputes, carried responsibility that would crush most of us. He was anything but passive, and he did all of it. While practicing exactly this, he gave himself fully to the duty in front of him, and then released his grip on how it would turn out. That is what let him keep going, year after heavy year. Not numbness, not surrender, but a kind of wholehearted action, without the extra suffering of clinging to the result. So you can be ambitious and still be calm. You can care deeply and still let go. In fact, the letting go is what protects the caring, so it doesn't curdle into anxiety or burn you out. You do the work as well as you can. You give your love as fully as you can. And then you open your hands and let the outcome be the outcome. That is not giving up. That is the only way to give everything and still have peace left over. So before we end tonight, let's bring this gently into ordinary life. In the people you love, it means meeting them where they are, not demanding they be perfect, not trying to control who they are, but offering them patience and honesty and a steady warmth, and letting that be enough. In your work, it means giving yourself fully to the task in front of you, and then, when the result is out of your hands, letting it go, doing your part well, and not lying awake over the part that was never yours. In your own heart, it means becoming the kind of person you can live with, quietly choosing patience over bitterness, honesty over excuses, one small good act at a time, until being good simply becomes who you are. And even in facing the end of things, it means treasuring the life that is here. We are all passing through. And that is not a sorrow to flee from, but a reason to soften and to love and to be fully here while we can. When you can hold the shortness of it all without flinching, each ordinary night, like this one, becomes a small, quiet gift. We have talked about a great deal tonight, about the two circles, about the stories we tell, about choosing who we become. And maybe some of it will slip away by morning. That's all right. You don't have to hold it all. This book is like a wise, weary friend, one who never claimed to have mastered any of it, and who only wanted to remind himself, and now you, that the calm you're seeking was always closer than the things you were chasing. So let me leave you with one last simple practice. Gently set down every thought about this book. There is nothing more to understand tonight. Just feel your breath. Notice how it moves, all on its own, asking nothing of you. Now let everything outside your control simply fall away. The day that has passed, let it go. The day that is coming, let it wait. None of it needs you tonight. There is nothing to fix, nothing to win, nothing to brace against. For this 1 hour, you are off duty. Listen to the sounds of the night. Maybe a car far away, maybe the wind, maybe just a deep, soft silence. And feel your body now, held by the bed beneath you, tenderly supported, warm and heavy. In this moment, there is no past, there is no future, there is only now, only you, here, breathing, existing, whole. You cannot control the world, you never could, and tonight, you don't have to. You only have to rest, here, in the small, quiet kingdom that has always been yours. Good night. Thank you for being here with me tonight. May you rest in the quiet of this moment and find your way back to the peace inside you. I'll see you with the next book.